Sometimes in life, you find yourself on the right side of the line.
I find it strange that we as men are so comfortable with the fact that we have nipples.
Are you in a prison rec room?
That's why I call my baby Maxwell House.
If you drink blood every day, can you donate more often?
Live from Texas, this is the Dryline Farmer Podcast. You hear that? It's Brent and Landon, and this is the Dryline Farmer Podcast.
Yes, we are back with the Dryline Farmer Podcast. Landon, it's, there's worse places to live than the Texas Panhandle. I mean, there's better, but there's certainly worse. And, I mean, they look pretty. First of all, are you doing okay?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, hush. Y'all had to be there for that. No. But no, Landon, it's good to see you again. Last week we were up at the National Junior Angus Show, and it was a good time had by all that were inside, because that I didn't realize it was that low or close to sea level. It's like 400 feet, and we're literally 10 times that where we farm, and we finally figured out how all those cattle died overnight because it was so blanking hot. So fortunately, the Kansas City American Royal facility was built 60 years ago, but they did have air conditioning, and it's a 2-story facility for the cattle. So every morning and every night when you're tying out your calves, you got to go up this big long ramp because we were on the second floor, and we were about the best place to be. I mean, it was the coolest level. The bottom level was, it was tolerable, but that's about it. Like, you thought at the end of the afternoon it was going to be raining inside the cattle stalls because it was just so freaking humid and hot. Of course, everybody's got, their $400-$500 fans, and there's 10,000 of those blowing and going, and you need every last one of them, but
and all their $80,000 cows.
Yeah. Well, not ours, but no, there's I don't know if the $300,000 heifer was there, but
are you serious?
Yeah. But it does make a little more sense with a heifer, a breeding stock, than a steer or a barrow, because at least if you sell a grand champion out of it every single year for its entire lifespan, you might get your money back. But it's
that might be one time I would pay $40 for a steak.
Yeah. So, well, you're doing that now.
If it came from a $300,000 cow.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be getting it from that cow. You'd be getting it from its offspring or something. But no, I've said this 1,000 times since I've been back home. I said, man, Kansas, southeastern Kansas, western Missouri, that would be a great place to farm if you didn't have to go outside, because they got dryland corn that looks irrigated. They got soybeans that look irrigated. And it's pretty much all dryland. And they're tasseling out. No pivots. There's a little bit of, I didn't see one pivot. We drove up from Amarillo to Oklahoma City up to Wichita through the Flint Hills. You get to the Flint Hills, and it's just miles and miles of nothing but rolling green grass that's 6-7 inches tall. But you have to roll the window down. Of course, from what I've noticed, you don't hardly have to go outside once you have your corn planted, because there's really nothing else to do. Maybe you spray it once to lay it by with atrazine. Atrazine, Landon, that's one of the best inventions that they ever did make. See?
yeah. So here's a dumb question, but to try to keep it, rolling as a farming podcast here for a few minutes. So these places that they don't have to irrigate, do they still have good water?
Probably
irrigate.
So, of course, one thing about Kansas is I think it's next to impossible to drill a well, just because of the regulations. Like, I don't know what it takes. Huh?
Throw all that red tape out. Like,
yeah.
If you just wanted to, is there good water there?
I don't know. I think there is. Of course, when it rains and you've got rivers and creeks that are always running that are replenishing the aquifer. I think they do, but like I said, of course, like we said, they don't need it. But I think that at least Kansas, I know it's pretty hard to get a well dug. I mean, like next to impossible. I think I don't know.
I was talking to one of our brokers one time. This is back when I still farmed, and I think it was in 2011, and we were talking about how dry it was, and he's like, how do you keep up with your water? And I was like, well, you just never shut off. And he's like, so you just water all day, every day?
All day?
Like, no, you water nonstop. He's like, y'all are allowed to water at night? And I'm
what?
Like,
where's this guy from?
I guess Kansas. And I was like, hell yeah. It's like, if we shut off during the night, we wouldn't.
You'd burn up.
We'd be plowing it up next week.
Yeah.
12 hours a day. That's it.
I would think they would only want, if they're going to only allow you to go 12 hours a day, you'd want it to be during the night.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. And I was like, man, if you're going to regulate it for 12 hours, you think you'd want to water it at night.
Of course, when their evaporation is about 4% versus 40% here, it doesn't really matter.
Plus the government guys that keep track of that, they're not going to get up in the middle of the night and check it.
No, they're not. They got the freaking
shit about evaporation.
Some of them still got the damn sprinkler heads on top of the sprinklers instead of drops down to the ground. Which I don't care if you've got almost. I mean, I guess it's obviously cheaper, but you still got to figure you're losing a little bit, maybe or not. Maybe it's just that damn humid that your evaporation levels are just non-existent because.
I know.
So we get an email a couple times a week from this guy that does the fertilizer program for us, and he always has the pan evaporation. And I think for the growing season, we're up to like 70 inches or something of pan evaporation, and we've had, like here we've had almost 4 inches of moisture this year, and we've had 70 inches of pan evaporation. So and it's fixing to get really pleasant during tasseling because it's going to be 100 degrees almost every single day. So it was actually pretty damn humid here today. It was like 25%. I thought it was gonna break off and germinate some corn in the head or something. It was so damn wet, but it didn't. It was kind of sad, but no. So anyway, yeah, the National Junior Angus show was a pretty good deal. We sweat our asses off every time we went outside. I played golf one morning in a scramble they had. Greenest course I've ever been on in my life. And I've been on some pretty nice. I mean, this is a public course. This is not like some fancy private course. Probably 6 blind tee shots due to either trees or hills or the haze from the humidity. But no, and the narrowest tee shot. I mean, these are almost chutes you were hitting out of. It was a pretty unbelievable. But it was there wasn't a brown spot one anywhere, and you could tell. I mean, the damn cart paths, they're all concrete. Of course, half of them have been washed out because of all the freaking rains and everything they get on a normal basis. But fortunately, we started at 7:30, and it was pretty tolerable for the most part until, you'd have a cloud most of the time covering up. But once that wind died, which was most of the time, and the sun came out, you would start sweating like a crackhead trying to get his amounts right. But it was, beautiful place to look out the window at. But I'm not built for that humidity, man. I'll take the wind any day, even though we're all going to be dry land here in a few years. But pretty good time. So, Landon, did you miss me? Did you want to talk anything about the markets? Have you had any more panic selling, or is everybody 110% sold?
I think everybody's so pissed off they're just going to ride it out one way or the other.
Sounds like a George Costanza-ism to me. So,
yeah. Luckily, at this point in my life, I haven't lost any more hair over it. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to catch up to you at some point. I don't know when it's going to be. It's going to be sooner than later.
How many times as a farmer in your life have you asked a broker what the market's going to do?
I don't put it that way because I'm a trader myself, and I know that's such.
Well, that's the only way I'm asking. Yet, so not very often.
No.
I bet in my life at Hereford Grain, I've probably been asked that question 12,000 times.
12,000 times.
My answer is always the same. I mean, I have like 3 answers. It's either I don't know, or it's going to go up and down, or leave me alone.
Yeah, because I mean, you really can't tell them anything, can you? Your opinion, or
here's how this works.
Okay.
If you give them advice and it goes up, if your advice is good, they get all the credit. They get all the credit for it. But if you give them advice and it burns them, you get all the credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's lose-lose.
Every success has 1,000 sons, and every failure is an orphan, right? No, I mean, I've traded for 20 plus years now. I don't think I've ever chewed out my broker once because I know in the end it's still my decision. In the end, so I know the risk every time. They don't ever answer the phone hello. They always say the risk of trading commodities is substantial. Please use only risk capital when trying to trade. So, and then they'll say hello. And I've only known the people for 20 years, so it's one of those deals. Speaking of that, I had a nice talk with our friend Casey Seymour on the Moving Iron podcast this morning. We talked markets. I was his substitute market analyst. He didn't call me that. He just called me an asshole. But I was the interim market. I was the interim market analyst for the Moving Iron podcast this morning. So Landon just had somebody with Tourette's in the background, so he muted his microphone. So now I can say pretty much anything I want. But no, it's been pretty wild in the old grain markets this week. Landon, we've come off over $1 in the corn. We come off, not that soybeans affect us any, but it's come off $3 or $4, and wheat's come off hard. And the worst thing really affected me now, since I don't have anything protection here, is the cotton. But the cotton is so freaking hard to price that you can't even they wouldn't even give you a contract back when it was at $1.20. So it's the cotton people are pretty aggravating to say the least. I said this morning, but I'm just amazed. One of the reasons I say, cotton is so susceptible to whatever the dollar does, but the market for the size of the crop or the market instrument, whatever you want to call it, it's so thin for the size of the market because, I mean, cotton is textiles, and I would think textiles is a pretty large deal, but the volume in the cotton market is just so thin for what it should be. I mean, the sugar market is higher than got more volume in it than the cotton market does, but
are you getting your heat units this year, Brent?
Yes. I sweated them all out at Kansas, so I'm getting them back here when I came back down here because...
How much weight did you lose during that stock show?
Shit, I gained about 5 pounds, man. That's all you do is eat and drink beer.
after that 8th Frito pie.
Yeah, no, hell no. So, yeah, we had a Cheesecake Factory for one night. God, that place is great. Oh, the food's so good, and then there's like 15 pages of menu to go through, and everybody ends up getting hamburgers, that kind of thing. So, no, I probably whatever I lost, I gained it back in the last 4 days being back home. So, yeah, we're kind of getting into those July doldrums. Basically, we're just keeping sprinklers going. All the weeds are killed as well as they're going to be killed. We've pretty much vaccinated every pigweed we found for next year. So it's... You
give them their booster?
we pretty... Yep, it's exactly what we did. Our pigweeds are triple vaxxed. They've already had the disease once, and they're boosted 3 times. So basically, we have got a whole COVID vaccination program on our big pigweeds going on because we've thrown everything in the world at them. And we stopped them from growing, I think, but we didn't just kill them like we used to. I mean,
it's easier to kill now that we figured it out. You couldn't kill them after they had natural immunity.
Yeah. Yeah. So the death rate on pigweeds now is, or the mortality rate's only like 5%. Now the infection rate from dicamba is 90% on the vaccinated weeds, but they won't die. The symptoms are a whole lot easier on pigweeds. Now that they've been triple vaxxed, they just don't die, but they're more susceptible to getting the dicamba. And I did find some 2,4-D damage in my cotton field this morning, so thanks a lot, assholes. But because it's not 2,4-D cotton, it's just dicamba cotton. So anyway, that's just kind of one of the things you got to roll with, as long as it's not a absolute nuke or not. It doesn't take that's not the threshold. The threshold's way below nuke. But if it's, you're always going to get it sniffed off from somewhere. So, Landon just looked like he was trying to pinch one off there. He's opened up a bottle or something, or they got a paper cut. But
just another beer.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how the hell did we get to talk about farming?
And this is like our biggest farm podcast ever.
I know, right? So, I guess that's one thing you don't have to deal with at the co-op, because if you're a cotton farmer, the number one bitch is getting 2,4-D damage. I know a few folks that really get pretty hot about it, and my very first year of farming, I didn't get 2,4-D damage. I got a nuke right next. Somebody sprayed grass right next to me, and it nuked 2 of my fields, 2 of my neighbors' fields, and ended up going to litigation. But those records, like literally. So
then you put up a random telephone pole.
Yeah, no, that's a different asshole.
Someday we'll have to get you to tell that story, but
when we get syndicated, Landon, I'll put that. It'll be our
a good one.
First episode that we crack out there. But
Picture it, Sicily,
so
1922.
That what is the biggest complaint that you have to field? Do you have a common complaint you have to field?
Well, it's kind of weird. Like every time the market is more than
it's probably all market complaints then, right?
I wish.
Oh.
No, usually like if the market's down more than 4.5 cents, then it's all my fault. And if it's down 30 cents, it's really all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like why is this going? Why didn't you call me at 2 a.m. and tell me to sell? I mean,
oh God.
I mean, it's just,
because I'm not your broker for one thing.
Yeah, right. I'm not even licensed to do anything.
Yeah.
I just put hedges in when you tell me. But
yeah, right.
No, like, I mean, farmers are funny people on a lot of things.
You don't say, Landon.
One of my favorite like drawing like comic strips of all time. It's a picture of a farmer, and he's got this hat on his head that looks like a grain elevator. It's just tall as can be, and his wife's looking at him like he's an idiot, and underneath it just says, "Well, they were giving them away."
Yeah, right. So. I think today was the first day. Did you see that Matrix meme for farmers somebody made? The blue pill, the blue pill and the red pill.
No.
So I don't know. I don't guess I liked it or whatever. Anyway, so in the first frame, it's got Morpheus, and he's like, he's holding the red pill, or no, what is he? He's holding the blue pill. And in the text above it says, take this pill and you'll be able to live a life you've always dreamed of. And then the next frame, it has the red pill. It's like, take this pill and you'll have a job that you'll want to shorten your life by 30 years by running yourself over with a tractor. and the final frame is, all farmers took both pills. And I don't know who originated that one, but it was a hell of a damn meme. So
good.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. So yeah, no. So yeah, I kind of figured really you feel. I mean, so let's say you called somebody and told them, "Hey man, you probably ought to sell some corn here." Would any of them ever say, "Okay"?
And they're like, "Oh shit, this guy called. He called. He must be serious."
Yeah.
No, this is exactly what they'd say. I mean, let's just assume it was up that day.
Right.
I'm telling them like, hey, it's going down tomorrow.
We're at some good levels. Yeah.
There's a report coming out. 19 out of 20 of those are bad.
Right.
Or bearish, whatever. They'd be like, well, wheat can be $12.50 or $13 on $14 on wheat. What was our high? Well, it might get to 17.
Do you really think that?
I had a guy like 12 years ago. He's passed away since then, but he kept one contract of wheat, and it got all the way to $12, and he sold it for $6.50. And the whole time as it's coming down, he's going, well, I still think it's going to get back over 10. Well, I still think it's going to get back over 9. And you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, if you would have sold that at 12, you would have made twice the money.
Yeah.
I mean,
he literally lost 50% of his money.
My advice to anybody when wheat is over $12, once it gets under $10.50, sell.
Or
just sell.
At the very least, sell and just buy some calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the market ever moves $1 in any direction, sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got grain, sell.
Yeah.
Take your medicine or go on vacation.
Don't get greedy. And whatever you do, don't wait for the round number.
Yeah.
If it's $6.97, don't wait for $7. Don't do it.
my favorite farmer quote of all time, and I can't remember if corn was at $5 or $6, or maybe even $7. This was about the same time period when grain was going crazy. Let's just say corn was at $6. And he's like, hey, this guy's farmer's like, hey, put me an order in to sell such and such at $6.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if you put it in at $5.99 3/4, you'd have a much better chance of selling because it's got to do a whole lot to break over $6.
There's going to be 10,000 orders at 6.
Oh yeah. And he goes, word for word, he goes, yeah, but if I sold it at that, I couldn't tell my neighbors that I sold it at $6. And I go, okay, well, he's a big farmer. He's doing like 10.
Uh-huh.
I go, well, why don't you sell 9 at this price, half a cent less or a quarter of a cent, whatever, and then sell 1 at $6. And if it covers, you can still go out and say whatever you want to say. Literally, you want to go brag on a quarter of a penny.
Yeah.
And so he's like, nope, put it in at 6. And he calls back 20 minutes later and he goes, put 9 of those in at $5.99 3/4. And they covered that night. A few days later, he covered his other one, so he's still got his bragging rights. But
yeah, no,
I'll tell you the name after the podcast.
Okay, tonight. If pride is getting into your trading, you're already sunk. I mean, you might as well line up the equipment now and call 5-star because.
It's like it's like with lawyers. What's the term if you're a lawyer and you're representing yourself, you've got a fool for a client.
Yeah, You got a fool for a client, right? Yeah.
Same concept.
And I mean, I'm guilty of almost all the cliches in trading, but cliches everybody hates to hear them. But the reason is because they're true.
Yeah,
I mean they're true. They may be overused, but that doesn't make them false. Bulls get some, bears get some, pigs get slaughtered. I mean,
you can say what you want about stereotypes, but farmer stereotypes, they're right on the freaking money.
Oh God, man, it's it's scary. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, risk management. I mean, that's the thing about trading. I mean, we don't have to get off on trading and everything, but the whole picking your trade is not near as important as managing it once you have it. Because you could have a 10-star trade you think on, and if you marry that thing, I mean, it's a pride deal at that point. You and your pride are gonna both be run over by a freaking Mack out on the highway, And
you have some farmers that they'll price grain, and then whatever. Then 2011 happens and they can't bring it in. And they price it $4 and it goes to $7, and you got to pay the difference. And they'll say, well, this CoOp should eat that difference. And you're like, okay, well, let's say you priced at $7 and the market went to $4 and you couldn't produce it. Does that mean I get to keep that $3? Well, no, you just have to do the right thing. You should pay that difference to me. You're like, do you see what you're saying here?
Yeah.
So when the market goes down, it's great for us, but when it goes up, I don't want to pay the difference.
Oh, they don't want to pay the margin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we saw a lot of that in 2011. Like, why do we have to pay this difference? Well, because you contracted corn.
Yeah. You sold. You sold corn.
Right.
Just because I hit the button just doesn't mean you still didn't sell the corn. Yeah. It's, No, I know. No, and I've been on I don't know if I've ever had to come up with margin to y'all or not. I don't think I have, but I guess
we wouldn't do it for you.
No, I know. I'm not that bad of a farmer, so it's that's how good I am. But it's that's like I get on YouTube and I watch I was watching these clips from those Southwest Airlines like reality shows they have. And, where these customers are just belligerent and pissed off and mad. They didn't show up on time for the flight. They were late. Well, they had to go take a smoke. Or it's never, ever, ever, ever their fault. Landon, do I need to fill you in because you walked away from the computer for a little while?
Sorry, I heard the front door open. I thought my kid walked outside.
Okay. Well, let me recap here for Landon and all the other.
Smoking. Are you still smoking, Brent?
No. No, I was watching one of these YouTube clips the last couple days, and they had that Southwest Airlines reality show where they film, all these passengers all getting all pissed off because they got kicked off a plane or they overbooked or anyway late for the flight. And I'm just like, people call you up, just any customer, any job that has a customer. That's why I love farming, because the only customer is the people that I never see. But just bitching and complaining and belligerent and nothing, absolutely zero, anything is their fault. It is all your fault. My F off meter it's so the tolerance is so tiny, like the needle doesn't even get off the peg from 0 before I'm telling you to F off, And I don't know how you do it. I mean, I don't know if you have that or not, but like watching those shows or cops, people are just
or like watching a McDonald's employee where people jump over the counter and finally there's one of those employees that finally comes out with a stick or whatever and just beats the hell out of 2 people.
I know.
I mean, I was happy to see that.
So, every time I see that now, I always think of the scene in Full Metal Jacket.
Like Ice Bucket Challenge. It's everywhere.
Yeah. So it always reminds me of the scene. If somebody jumps over the counter, it always reminds me of the scene in Full Metal Jacket where Private Pyle is in the bathroom getting ready to blow his head off. And Matthew Modine's character, he's in there, he finds him, and then wakes up the drill sergeant. And, of course, he starts going off on his deal. Is like, why is Private Pyle out of his bunk? Why aren't you beating him? What does he say? Why aren't you shitting down his neck or something like that? I'm like, that's what I would be screaming to this employee. Why aren't you bashing his brains in or something like that? Anyway, it's
which one was it? Waffle House that said that they encourage their employees to get like self-defense training or something?
Oh, really?
Didn't you post that video of?
No, I said I think every company should require at least 2 Louisville Sluggers under the waffle iron / fryer. That's what right. I said.
Yeah, because I would think a waffle iron would work just as good. But.
Oh, God. Walk out of there with a cheek of waffle. Hey, it looks just like your wife's legs.
What was that one? Those customers caused $20,000 worth of damage and sent a guy to a hospital because they charged $1.75 for extra sauce. Extra
sauce, yeah.
Can't you just sneak in a bottle of ketchup?
I'm sorry, sir. We don't allow any outside ketchup. That's a reason to go right there, Landon, if they won't even let you bring in your outside ketchup.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No. People, the apocalypse cannot get here soon enough. But, yeah, it's...
I don't know.
I've never been that angry. I've been mad. Like, I've said it before. When I go to McDonald's, and I don't get if I get the wrong order or they get it just kind of wrong, my order wrong, I understand that going in. I understand that's a risk. I mean, as long as I'm not getting a fillet of fish, I'm okay. If they get me a quarter pounder instead of a chicken sandwich, I get it. We're not dealing.
What if you're like me and I get home and I've got like 2 extra meals?
You make it home with food?
Yeah.
I don't make it out of the city limits with food. It's gone by the time I hit Walmart, dude. And we don't live in New York. We live in Hereford.
Yeah, we just have the one light.
Yeah, I know it. Oh, so we coming into church the other morning, we got pulled out. We were late for Sunday school, and I was
real nice.
I was rolling through town, and anyway. And I mean, if I didn't look up, we got to the I don't know when he started coming behind me, but I got pulled.
It's always nice to break the law on the way to church, so you immediately have something to be forgiven for.
Well, no, that you get out of it. It's like because he got me 44 and a 35, and he's like, "Sir, is there an emergency?"
Pulled over?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so he goes, "Sir, is there an emergency?" I go, "Oh, no, just late for church." When he told me my speed, because usually if they give you a warning, they won't tell you your speed. Because they don't want you to know how much the leeway they're going to give you. But anyway, so, no, we're just late for church. He's like, all right, well, let's get your license insurance. We'll get you on your way. Anyways, well, so we had an insurance card. Well, it was expired. I'm like, well, it's good. That one, we didn't put the new one in here. So Anyway, technology, Landon can't understand this, but I got on my phone and pulled it up and showed him, and everything was cool. But anyway, yeah, so it was.
I just recently learned what emojis are, dude. I bet I've been pulled over 14 times in my life, maybe, most of which were warnings. I think I've only had one ticket, but anyway,
I still have yet to have a speeding ticket.
I bet I've had one speeding ticket. I bet 13 out of 14 of those times I have had an expired insurance card.
Oh,
I don't know what it is. It's like they freaking know. It's like there's some kind of like if you have that piece of paper in your car, like there's some kind of like thing that they can shoot and scan, and it's like this guy's insurance is expired. I mean, they still have insurance, just his card.
So they can check it. Like they can check it on their radio now. Well, their system was down. So I was actually pretty fast about it because I couldn't remember my password to Farm Bureau, so I had to reset my password and do all that. And anyway, but he's like, no. So I heard the dispatcher say, yeah, the system is down. So I'm like, oh, all right. He's just going to let us go then. No, not quite. I guess I was going to go to jail if I didn't have my, he's going to throw me up against the car, spread him. Yeah. That'd traumatize my kids. But no, he was cool and everything. It's pretty cool to have, what, a $40 million new jail and not be able to open it because you ain't got enough people to work there?
You boys like Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Like, yeah, we should start posting on Facebook. Man, Hereford hasn't had an arrest in years.
Yeah.
Yeah, $32 million for a jail, and we're paying $15,000.
Palmer County, $30,000 a year to take our overflow.
No, $35,000 a month.
I mean a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Economics 101. Here you go. Here's what not to do.
Yeah. Right. Is that what you're talking about, Meow? Till I did a damn liter of cola.
I did notice. I drove by it today, the new jail that nobody's unoccupied. That they did spray the rocks for weeds. So
nice. This is where at the new jail.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
I wonder.
You think you could at least open it up as like a hotel and like
I know,
and like spend the night in like a jail,
like an Airbnb or something.
Put TVs in every room.
So let's say you're like the first prisoners of the jail. Do you think they walk in there and go, "Man, this is nice"?
Oh man! I'm using an accent.
Check out solitary. That's all nice. It's all clean.
I'm gonna take the quickest shower ever before anybody else gets in here.
You're kidding.
I dropped the soap and nothing happened.
I know.
Just again stereotypes for a prison, and it's not a prison; it's just a jail.
No, it's just a jail. But you don't want to hang out there on a weekend. Anyway,
I can't imagine those bathrooms being much worse than the bathrooms at Cowboy Stadium. But
really,
or fest. Well, the
Cowboys,
time I went, I had a better experience. It is not. Well, they have TVs in there. I take it back. I stand corrected.
I would say they can't be any worse than the Hereford Junior High showers with the pole and the nozzles that nobody ever used.
Oh, I know.
I don't ever remember seeing one guy ever use the shower in the at the junior high, which I don't know why you would have, but anyway, it's now in Kansas City I would think they'd have to use them, but Hereford they just go roll in the dirt or something. Well, Landon, we're getting long on time here, so we're gonna ask you, how do we find you on the internet?
No Twit Landon 44.
And you can find me at Trader Brent. That's all over the Twitterverse. And, of course, we're on the Global Ag Network. Check all the great podcasts out on there. And, of course, one more time, check out our friend Casey Seymour. That's the Moving Iron Podcast, Moving Iron LLC. He's got all kinds of great stuff. He's got like a prime freaking badass guest today. And you'll really want to check that out. So,
Hey, Brent, did we talk about anything we were supposed to today?
No. We were going to talk about Hunter Biden. And I guess we'll have to tune in next week. So we just started watching 24 on Netflix just a minute ago, and like the very first, like I only saw the last 3 or 4 seasons. So my wife, she was big, she watched all of it back in college, but we watched the first episode. And I'm sure she's probably already on hour 4 by now because she never waits to watch it with me. So
what was that movie we watched where they're like, just consider this to be like an episode of 24, except the name of the series would be called, I don't know, One.
One? I don't remember that one. Oh, God. Yeah. But, so, yeah. we're in the summer doldrums here, so we're taking it easy. Maybe we'll go play some golf or something. Landon, how'd the Tierra Blanca go for you?
Pretty horrible.
Pretty horrible? Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was all right.
I saw your score. It looked like it was pretty tough.
I birdied 14 on my own. That was kind of nice.
Sweet. Pretty good deal. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. So, check everybody out on that Global Egg Network. Our friend Casey Seymour. We're going to get out of here. So until next time, y'all stay cool, y'all stay safe, and we'll ask you, what side of the line are you on?
The Dryline Farmer Podcast, a member of the Global Ag Network. There's podcasts, and then there's this, the Dryline Farmer Podcast.